Although if you pretty much use this as it was intended without a cheater pipe, you'd probably be okay. It's just that those square, boxy, rectangular handles, they're just not very comfortable. So we definitely want to test out some ratchets here. We got the Kobalt ratchet from Lowe's, as well as a Stanley Black & Decker Craftsman, and we also have a Sears Craftsman. So we're going to take those to the torture test and see how they perform, what kind of foot-pounds we can expect on these things, and to see how this socket takes it. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any future upcoming videos like the Hazet, the Wear a Cyclops. Man, that thing is super slim. Check that thing out right there. Then we got the Crescent, that's got a nice grip on it, as well as the Titan Tools 90 tooth billet aluminum long handle 3/8 inch drive. And then we're gonna also have the full chrome polished Aries ratchet. That's a short handle one. I think we're gonna have to bring out the snap-on against that thing. And then we got the Steelman Pro. This is a 160 tooth ratchet. That's a pretty beefy ratchet. Be interesting to see how that one performs. As well as getting back to the Pittsburgh Pro. And the Pittsburgh Pro versus the Icon, that's going to be an interesting one. We're also going to test in an upcoming video using a torque wrench without an extension, and then one with an extension, and then taking it to a 7-foot extension and see if there's any torque loss in there. If there is, if it's minimal, if it's really great, that one you're going to definitely want to stick around for. So make sure, again, you hit that subscribe button, guys. Really cool stuff coming up. It's going to be a busy week. So let's go break some ratchets on this thing and see how it holds up. So we're going to go ahead and take some ratchets to failure here. We have the Kobalt 90. This is a pretty relatively budget-priced ratchet. You can get this for a great deal when it comes to picking up one of their sets. We're going to go ahead and do some test pulls on this. You can see 100 foot-pounds, 136 foot-pounds, 177 foot-pounds. So really, this ratchet, it's going to be able to solve all your little problems without any issues. It really only comes down to what's the longevity of something like this, because it's able to take 192 foot-pounds. ASME spec on like a 19 millimeter or 3/4 inch socket is going to be around 185 foot-pounds, and the ratchet itself for ASME spec is going to be around 150 foot-pounds. So we were able to achieve everything that we would expect. Let's go ahead and take this thing to failure and see how it performs. "260 foot-pounds. Clean anvil shear on that. Really nicely done, Kobalt. Pretty impressed. Let's see how that sounds internally. Everything inside functions still really nicely. So the weak point on that would definitely be the fact that it's a quick release. And 260 foot-pounds is not too bad. All right, so the next ratchet we have up here, this is the Stanley Black & Decker longer handle Craftsman ratchet. Now, this is made in China. It's no longer made in the USA. And this one's really interesting because some people want to know what this one performs like compared to the Sears Chinese brand. We're going to find that out today here, so I'm really excited to see how that works out. All right, so let's go ahead and do some test pulls on our Craftsman. Now this is a 36 tooth ratcheting mechanism. Still sounding and feeling okay. Yep, still no issues. We're going to go ahead and take this up to about 150, 185. So So doing okay for ASME spec at 150. Now it'd be a matter of going up to about 185 for the socket. Oh, and that thing broke at 173. So we slipped something in there. It's kind of bungled up inside. We'll go ahead and see. Maybe we just slipped a tooth. $133. So really disappointing to see results like that. But that's pretty much how your Chinese Craftsman is gonna fare. So we'll go ahead and give that Craftsman from Stanley Black & Decker one last chance. 177 foot-pounds, just destroying the internals on there. And that doesn't even meet ASME spec for torturing a 3/4 or 19 millimeter socket. So the Stanley Black & Decker Craftsman is probably one of the lowest performing ratchets that I've had the opportunity to test. And it's really not my pleasure to test that one. So let's go ahead and test out the Sears Craftsman. Now this one, again, this one's made in China. And we will see if this one performs any better than the Craftsman Stanley Black & Decker. Really interested to see if this one's going to be able to take a little bit more abuse or not. It's kind of interesting because this one has a shorter handle on it, but it also actually ended up being a lot cheaper. So I was able to pick up a great little set for 10 bucks compared to the Stanley Black & Decker Craftsman, which was like nearly $20. It was very painful to actually purchase that. All right, we'll put a little bit more on here. So 98 foot-pounds. Yeah, everything's sounding pretty good, no issues. If you think about it, the shortness on this handle, you're really not going to be able to put more than about 120 by hand. So 149, that's going to be really close to ASME spec. And we'll go ahead and see if we can take this one up to around 185 to 200 foot-pounds. So we got 185 from the Sears Craftsman. So that one is definitely able to take a little bit more torque than the Stanley Black & Decker version. We're going to go ahead and take the Sears Craftsman to failure. All right, so 183 before we slipped some of the internals on the Craftsman from Sears. So while it is a little bit better, it's not a lot better than the one that you would pick up from Stanley Black & Decker. All right, so we'll go ahead and give it one more shot here, see how it performs. So 228 foot-pounds, that's a lot better than I wanted to see. Still was not able to break the anvil on there. So we're probably definitely rounding off the gears in there or taking a chunk out of the pawls. Either which way, there's so many other options for tools out there that are going to perform better for the foot-pounds per dollar ratio. Although if you pretty much use this as it was intended without a cheater pipe, you'd probably be okay. It's just that those square, boxy, rectangular handles, they're just not very comfortable. When it comes to looking at the Craftsman and the Kobalt ratchets here, the Kobalt one from Lowe's definitely performed really, really well. No problems with that one. But these Craftsman ones, man, they have been probably the worst performing ratchets out of all of them that we've tested. We had the Sears Craftsman China-made ratchet as well as the Chinese-made Stanley Black & Decker Craftsman, and we saw that the Sears one performed slightly better than the Stanley Black & Decker, but not by much. Both of those, unless you're getting those really, really cheap, I probably personally myself would pass on those. You guys are going to have to make your decision on those. Why don't you comment down below what you thought about the performance of those ratchets? So guys, really appreciate you tuning in. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Comment down below what you thought of this video. Let others know what your experience with some of these tools are. And as always, guys, work smarter, not harder. And we'll catch you in the next video.